Imagine this: you're born into silence. No voices, no words, no human interaction. Just emptiness. Now, ask yourself what happens to the human mind when it is completely isolated from birth. Does it create its own language? Or does it even remain human at all? This is called the forbidden experiment, so unethical, so extreme that no scientist has ever legally performed it. But history tells a darker story because hidden in the past, powerful rulers and secret experiments have tried to answer this terrifying question. And the results: absolutely horrifying. Psychologists have long theorized that a child raised without language or human connection would either create their own form of communication or remain forever trapped in a primitive state. But ethical constraints have stopped scientists from ever testing this theory. However, some rulers throughout history didn't care about ethics. They wanted to know what the natural human language was and what happens to a mind left in total isolation. The earliest recorded attempt comes from Pharaoh II of Egypt, who ordered 2 infants to be raised in absolute silence. No one was allowed to speak to them. Why? Because he believed that if left untouched, they would eventually start speaking the world's first language, the original language of humanity. And the outcome: when the children finally spoke their first words, they uttered something that resembled the Phrygian word for a bread. The Pharaoh took this as proof that Phrygian, not Egyptian, was humanity's original language. But was it really? Or was it just random sounds formed by desperate, isolated minds? Fast forward to the 13th century. Emperor Frederick II of the Holy Roman Empire wanted to test the same idea. So he took newborns and ordered that they be raised without any affection, human touch, or spoken words. And the result? None of them survived. Not because they lacked food or warmth, but because they lacked love. It turns out human connection isn't just about language. It's about survival. In 1800, a feral child known as Victor of Aveyron was found wandering deep in the forests of France. He had no language, no social skills, and barely any human traits. Scientists at the time believed he had been abandoned as a baby and had grown up without human contact. When doctors tried to teach him to speak, he couldn't. His mind had already lost the ability to learn language, and that led to a shocking discovery. If a child doesn't learn language by a certain age, they might never be able to learn it at all. Modern neuroscience supports this terrifying idea. Studies show that if a child is deprived of language before the age of 5 to 7, their brain loses the ability to ever fully develop it. There is a critical window where the brain absorbs language like a sponge. Miss that window and the ability is gone forever. So what happens if a person grows up without human interaction? The answer is haunting. They don't become a genius discovering some secret, original language. Instead, they become trapped, isolated in their own mind, unable to connect with the world around them. And that is why the forbidden experiment remains just that, forbidden. If you found this mind-blowing, hit the like button and subscribe for more shocking psychology facts. And tell us in the comments, do you think humans are born with an original language, or does our mind only become human when we learn to speak